I'm Peter Cutler. I've been a volunteer at the Hants for about 42 years. It might be a bit longer. I joined in the period between the closure by British Railways in 1972 and the reopening to Ropley in 1977.
Reopening day had been earmarked for the 30th of April 1977, and it seemed that the whole population of Hampshire had come to Alresford to celebrate. It had been a long, hard struggle to get the railway close to this great day, and everyone was out to enjoy themselves.
The first role I undertook here was working for the locomotive department. In fact, the first mainline locomotive that ran on the Mid-Hants as a preserve railway was restored in the catalogue alongside the West Country Buffet here at Alresford. And after the opening, the locomotive department moved to Ropley. The railway just ran from here at Alresford up to Ropley, and Ropley was where all the locos were, and that's where they were restored from scrap condition predominantly, and I was part of the locomotive department until 1986. I was asked to become the railway's accountant as a volunteer during the time that the big extension from Ropley through to Alton was undertaken, because unlike some other railways which were able to buy the railway with all the track intact, British Railways ripped up everything from Alton to Ropley, so we had to completely relay it. And at the time that we finished, going from Ropley to Alton, it was the biggest standard gauge relaying project that had ever been undertaken by volunteers for a heritage railway. When we started, we basically only had the one proper signal box, which is the one here at Alresford, which is the original. It goes right the way back to 1865. It's still the original box. But we had to have proper signalling, and so at Ropley they put in a little box at ground level, and that stayed in use in different places in Ropley, different positions, but that stayed in use for about 20 years. I suppose the biggest change in terms of the way that the place looks at Ropley on the station is the fact that it has got a proper signal box now. As far as the others are concerned, well, Medstead was just a shell. It was just a completely vandalised shell, and the volunteers completely rebuilt it from the ground up, everything apart from the platforms, and even they needed tiddling up.
In the early days of the railways, the volunteers had to make do with working outside in all conditions and carrying out some jobs the hard way.
In terms of mainline railways, it was inevitable. It had to happen, diesels or electric. Steam was lovely, but it was monumentally inefficient. I mean, volunteers they love working on steam engines. Of course they do, otherwise they wouldn't do it. It's lovely as a hobby, but it had done its time. It served the country very well.